Local Government Municipal Structures Amendment Act comes into effect on the 1st of November. It aims to improve governance in municipalities by introducing a specialised code of conduct. So within 2 months of being elected, councillors will be required to declare their business interests and be barred from using municipal assets for their own benefit. So how will this plan help salvage the dismal municipal track record, if it can at all? Governance expert and director of the Dullah Omar Institute at the University of the Western Cape, Professor Jaap Visser, joins us for more on this story. Prof, it's great to have you this morning on the show for what is quite an important story in the run-up to the municipal elections. And, you know, just reading through some of the details of what this act is trying to do, one just wonders how these measures were not in place before.
Good morning, Michelle, and thanks for having me. Look, the Municipal Structures Amendment Act is an act with a lot of small amendments to the governance arrangements in municipalities.
Right.
Many of those amendments are not major, are not changing the scene in any major way. For example, that code of conduct for councillors has always been there.
Yes.
It's just been shifted to another piece of legislation,
so
and clearly it hasn't really had the effect that it was intended to have.
So the code of conduct itself doesn't actually change in the requirements?
No, it doesn't. It was simply moved from the Municipal Systems Act to the Municipal Structures Act. What the Municipal Structures Amendment Act does do is it, for example, improves, or it aims to improve, the relationships between municipal speakers and the rest of the council, because there was a lot of confusion in municipalities about what the role is of the municipal speaker, so that's an improvement. They also they formalized now the establishment of municipal public accounts committees. You know, those are committees that are expected to exercise oversight within the municipality over the finances of the municipality. They've been in place for a while, those committees, but this act now institutionalizes them. So I wouldn't say that Municipal Structures Amendment Act is a silver bullet. It's simply a set of legal changes that will move the needle ever so slightly. So
you know, a lot of the sort of press release speak around the Municipal Structures Amendment Act talks about, you know, it seeks to improve municipal failures, streamline all three spheres of government. So saying that, and it looks great on paper, doesn't it? Because that's what we want. But how does it actually do that?
Yeah, so I've just finished, you know, reviewing that Municipal Structures Amendment Act, and all the changes are good, are necessary, but they are, it's a collection of small changes to the legal framework that will assist. But of course, you know, the real problem is the politics in local government. We have too many municipalities that are completely devouring themselves with factional politics. I mean, there are municipalities in the Northwest and in the Eastern Cape where two factions of the ruling party have both elected the mayor and both elected the speaker and both elected the municipal manager. It's that kind of mayhem that the Municipal Structures Amendment Act is not going to fix. That's going to be fixed by, frankly, in those cases, the ruling party getting its act together and stopping with the infighting. So,
Prof, when you talk about small changes in the legal framework, what are you talking about there?
So the institutionalization of municipal public accounts committees, so they're not formalized, but they were operating already, but they have now a clearer mandate, so that's useful. The clarification of the role and function of the municipal speaker, I think that is a useful change. There's a formalization now of the composition of executive committees with a clear formula of how they are supposed to be composed. So it's those kind of changes, technical changes to the electoral system to make sure that there are no, sort of that the elections can be held properly. So it's a range of technical changes, which I think are useful, are good, but are not in and of themselves going to fix local government.
Well, that was my next question to you. You know, the changes, as you say, insofar as governance, are clearly needed, and they are good. But in terms of the problems that we're seeing at local government, I mean, most of the corruption we see in our country in terms of our budget spend on service delivery happens at the municipal level. Does this go any way to addressing that issue?
I think the formalization of municipal public accounts committees, I think that is an important reform that already started a number of years ago. where now there's an insistence, and now also a legal insistence, that each and every municipality must have a committee, a municipal public accounts committee, similar to the public accounts committee in Parliament, that must oversee the financial management of the municipality. So it is there to ask questions of the municipal manager and ask questions of the mayor, to produce an oversight report, to investigate malfeasance if there is any. And I think that should go a long way in fixing up financial management. Then again, all of that said, we have been operating with municipal public accounts committees in municipalities for at least, 7 or 8 years. And the track record of these municipal accounts committees is not that they are absolute sort of warriors for clean financial management in local government. It depends. If they are given enough space to do what they're supposed to do, they can. But often, again, there is political interference in the functioning of these the public accounts committees, and then they will not do, the proper job of overseeing municipal finances.
Prof, can you just give us a sense, just some clarity around how this might fit into the recently launched district development model, recently launched by government? So the idea there was that that's a framework for municipalities to begin tackling their service delivery issues. Do you reckon this kind of act sort of works hand in hand with that?
I see the DDM as a bit separately from the Municipal Structures Act. The Municipal Structures Amendment Act is, as I said, a set of useful technical changes to the governance framework.
Yeah.
The DDM, it's a bit difficult to assess it. The most generous interpretation I want to give of it is that it's an old wine in new bags. It is an insistence of government that there must be greater collaboration between municipalities and the rest of government, which I think is a useful intention, but was always the case. So that's not new. So it's a sort of a renewed effort to achieve greater collaboration within government, within the various spheres of government. Where, for example, if the Provincial Department of Education builds a school, it must collaborate with the municipality to make sure that the planning for the school is done at municipal level, that there is water and sewerage connections for the school, and that the school is integrated in the municipal infrastructure system. And that has often not happened enough. So the DDM aims to improve that collaboration. But it will not fix those municipalities in deep, dire straits. The DDM is not going to fix Lekwa municipality in Mpumalanga that is on its knees because of bad governance. It's not going to fix those municipalities I was talking about earlier that are completely torn apart by factionalism. It will maybe help in those municipalities that are already reasonably well governed and that are struggling to get connected to the rest of government to make sure service delivery coheres.
Yeah.
So the DDM, that's the generous interpretation. The more cynical interpretation is it's an attempt of the ruling party to divert the attention to the deep governance problems that are often caused by internal factionalism within itself, to say, well, look, we have a policy, we have an initiative, and it looks great, but actually it's not really aimed at the real problem, which is the rot in too many of our municipalities.
Yeah, and I think you've written these words yourself, Prof, where you actually say it's essentially a failure since it was implemented, and again, it's because of infighting in the governing party, largely.
Yeah, look, every municipality has its own story. There are 257 of them, and it's always good to be nuanced because some municipalities are doing fantastic work and are managing their finances very, very well.
I think the number is 30. I think the number is 30 odd that have gotten clean audits.
Yeah.
Out of 257.
Those are doing their job, but there are too many municipalities that are failing. Failing at various, levels. Some of them are just struggling and have too little finances and are struggling and cannot make ends meet. Others are just completely devouring themselves with internal factionalism or coalition politics gone wrong. So every municipality has its own story, but the ANC knows, and I'm sure the president also knows this. They have serious problems in some regions in the Northwest, in the Eastern Cape, in the Free State, where the municipalities that they run with an outright majority are completely at odds within themselves, and the governance is collapsing. And the problem with that is that if there's mayhem in Parliament, it looks bad and it is terrible and it shouldn't happen, but it doesn't result in immediate service delivery problems the next day.
Yeah.
But if a municipal council collapses, within a few days that has an impact on service delivery in that municipality. The trucks won't leave the depot, the refuse won't be collected, the potholes won't be fixed, because the council must function, the council must meet and take decisions so that service delivery can continue. And that's why governance in these municipalities must be fixed, must be improved, because until that happens, service delivery will fail.
Yeah, absolutely. Professor Jaap de Visser, thanks very much indeed for joining us this morning, Director of the Dullah Omar Institute at UWC. The Local Government Municipal Structures Amendment Act coming into effect from the 1st of November. How far will it go in terms of improving governance in municipalities? I suppose time will tell.